हरि ओम नमस्सर्वेभ्यः अद्वैत चिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितः परब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्ठान्तेव सदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दमूर्तिम् स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वडविडपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णम् सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारा त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवम् जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वडतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशया निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवाताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चिदोत्घनाय महेशाय वडमूलनिवासिने सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So we have seen this first mantra, Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijandargatam pasyannatmani mayaya buhirivo bhutam yada nidraya yat sakshat prabodha samaye swatmanamevadvayam tasmai shri gurumurtaye namaidam shri dakshinamurtaye. So now, after having given one example that the world is like a reflection in a mirror, same is the situation for the reflection of our experiences in our consciousness. Now here in the second stotra, Acharya is taking up another example which is very famous and mostly used by those days these other philosophers like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Mimamsa, ityadi. All of them were different types of examples are being used for. So he is using that, but in the third line he is taking that same example to a different level. Here what Suresuracharya has done is that he has, when he is Manas well as a Varthika, up to the 44th Varthika, he has narrated the philosophies of Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, all of them, and given their details, which I am not going to get into the details because they are not important for us. So what we will do today is we will take this stotra and then straight away go to the answer what befits those philosophies of those days like Sankhya, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, etc. So those, if you are interested, you can read it yourself because the English text is self-sufficient. But I'm more interested in giving the Advaita aspect of it. the narration and the explanation of other philosophies are scholarly interest, and those who want to study can study that. So the second sutra goes like this. Bijasyandarivanguro jagadidam prangirvikalpam punaha maya kalpita deshakala kalana vaichitra chitrikritam maya viva vijrambayati api mahayogiva yasyechaya asmai Sri Gurumurtaye namaidam Sri Dakshinamurthaye. Bijasya andariva angura. Like a seed, as in a seed, the sprout is inside the seed before it sprouts out. So this is the before the creation takes place, just as the sprout or the tree in the form of a seed is present in the seed andariva, as if it is inside. Same way, nirvikalpam, prang nirvikalpam. Nirvikalpam means unmanifested state of the seed, of the tree in a seed. Same way, deshakala kalana, all this time, space and causation of the world before prang nirvikalpam, in the unmanifest state, is in the form of the imagined Maya, Maya Kalpita. It is not in the Ishvara, it is not really there in Maya. Maya itself is Yadna Vidyate Sa Maya. So, in the imagination, if we say there is something, it is not really there in the imagination also, it's only an imagination. So, when we say that Mayaviva Vijrambayati, Yogiva Swechaya, there he is giving the two examples, how the Mayavi or the magician makes non-existent things appear during his magic. Or the yogi, here he is referring to the yogi, for the yogis who have Ashtasiddhis, those who have got the Kriya Shakti and all those things. Example which is given in the narration is of Vishwamitra. We will see that when we come to that side. It seems Vishwamitra, because he was a Mahayogi, he created a parallel to challenge the creator Brahma as per the Purana. So he is referring here Mahayogiva. So even a yogi, so here Ishvara is depicted as a yogi who is creating the world. So if you look at the English meaning, is that he who is like a juggler or a great yogi unrolls the universe out of his own free will, the universe, which before creation remained in unmanifestation like a future tree in a seed, has later on projected himself out of the world for endless variety, due to dedusory play of time, space and products of Maya. To him, the divine teacher, Dakshinamurthy, is my prostration. Now, if you look at it, this same aspect is discussed in detail in the Chandogya Upanishad. In the 6th Adhyaya, Dvitiya Khanda, where the Tattvamasi definition is being given by the Uddalaka, by his father, named the Swetaketu. He stated, Sadeva Saumya idamagramasid ekameva advitiyam tadveka ahu sadeva idamagram asid ekameva advitiyam tasma tasata sanjayata is the first mantra. That is why Sadeva Saumya idamagramasid is a very famous quote in all the Shruti Shankaracharya uses many times, where he says that in the creation before, Asat means which is not real, which is changing in nature. That means the world of objects which we are experiencing. Jagra, Swapna, Sushupti, all the three. That before, agre means before. Sat eva asid. That was in the form of pure existence. Sat means existence. So the detailed commentary by Shankara is getting into that Vastu Sushupta Kale Iva. He is giving a word here just like in the Sushupti Kala, like how we have the whole experiences in the unmanifest form in our deep sleep, and when we wake up from the deep sleep, the whole world is experienced by our sense organs instantly. Same is the case Sat and Asat. Asat means not non-existent. That's a mistake. We make it as Asat means not existent. It is impermanent. Sat is that which is existing all the time. So when we say Sadeva Soumya Ida Agra Asit, that alone was there before, which also has a corollary of a statement that if that was there before, means that is there even now. That meaning is understood in the statement. So before it was in the form of existence, now it is the existence itself is in a changing form. But in that also what you are seeing is existence. So when our experiences are, when we say that our experiences are in the world in the form of multiple, like Desha Kala Kalana, all these names and forms are there. They are Asat in the form of, because they are changing, but at the same time there is the Sat in it, because it is the Sat which is appearing as Asat now. So that is why we are making the statement, this is there, that is there, always that isness or existence is given to our experiences also. But we do not perceive the continuity of the existence of it. We are conditioned by the names and forms which keeps changing. So that is why in this we have to understand that this is how the Bijasya Ankura Idam. So the tree in the form of existence was in the seed, then the tree existed as a tree. But when the tree is existing, the existence which was there as a seed in the seed is now existing as a tree. Only what is the change is between the existence state of the tree in the form of a seed and existence of a seed. But in both the cases, we can see it is the existence which is there. If we go down to the next mantra in the same Upanishad, the Dvitiya Khanda, let's say again, Kutastu khalu saumya syad iti hovacha katamasataha sanjayadeti. How can the asat can be created? For that, Shankara is using the same example, Bijangura. And he will find that if those who want to read this, the Shankara Bhashya can read it in detail. Here he is giving the full example as to how the Bija Yadangura Janma Nityutpadare Ata Tadasti Avayava Vyadirekta Vastu Bhutam Tadacha Sadi Abhyugamam is Virodaha Ataha Samvritya Abhyugadam Bija Sthana Rupam Upamrityataha Idi Chet Kadam Samvrita Nisarnama. So all those things, Bija and Angura is Bijasya Eva is Angura. Angura and is nothing but Bija. So this is the example which he is telling. This is taken exactly from the Chandogya Upanishad. So if you look here in this mantra, in this stotra, you will understand that the Angura is a name and form difference for the same Bija. Same way, Jagat Idam. Idam Jagat. This world. Prang Nirvikalpam. Before it was in the form, Nirvikalpam means without manifestation. Punaha, again, Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitra Chitrigatam. In the form of Desha and Kala and Kalana is the Karana. Vaichitra Chitrigatam. In the different forms it is being painted or created. Maya Kalpita. It is the Kalpana or the imagination of Maya through which it. How does that come? Yatha Maya Viva. Just like a magician bringing the different objects into in the existence, taking out a dove out of a hat or a hair out of a hat, and etc. etc. The other different magic tricks are there. Vijrambayati means creates, or it just pops out. Or Mahayogi, like the Vishwamitra who created a parallel world, is what he is talking about. Now, up to the 44th explanation, what the Varthika, Suresuracharya is refuting Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Sankhya, Buddha, Bauddha, all the philosophies which are there. So that we don't have to waste time in knowing what are those things. Those who are interested can study it. But from here he is going to tell about the creation part of it. Icha jnana kriya purva yasmat sarva pravrittayaha sarve api jantavaha tasmat ishvara idi nishchita. Icha jnana kriya purva. Before the kalpana or the imagination, it is in the form of icha jnana kriya. There are three aspects of imagination: desire, knowledge to create, and the creation. Yasmat sarva pravrittaya. In all this before that, sarva api jantavaha. All these creation, tasmat ishvara iti nishchita. It is that Ishvara which, using his Icha Jnana Kriya, is creating the world like the Mayavi. The universe from the will intelligence activity of Ishvara is endued with Maya. So, and for that, the same example of Bija. Bija Akshar Chataro Virbijam Paramparyena Jayate Iti Shanka Nivartyartam Yogi Drishtanta Kirtanam. Now, what happens is that there is a ad infinitum if you take Bija and Vriksha. Like the tree and the seed, if you take it, there has to be a seed before the tree. And therefore, the seed to come, there is a requirement of a tree. So, how can you say, the question, the opponent can ask a question, that is a parampara. That means it is continuous in nature. One happens after the other. Therefore, you cannot say it is a sudden creation by Ishvara. Iti Shanka Nivrityartam. For that is the answer, but he is saying that Yogi Dishtantam Kirtanam. Like he is saying that like a yogi or a magician, Maya Viva or the Yogi Vaya Swechaya. For that Vishwamitradeyaha Purve Paripakva Samadayaha Upadana Upakarana Prameya Vivarjitaha Swechaya Sasrujat Sargam Swargam Sarvabhoga Upabrhitam. Brahmhitam. So what did Vishwamitra do when he was given a challenge, because one of his disciples who wanted Swargaloka, he wanted to send his disciple to Swargaloka. So the Brahma Deva, who is a creator of sustenance, the Chaturmuja Brahma, what he did was, he didn't allow his disciple to come to the Swargaloka. So Brahma refusing his Vishwamitra's disciple to go to Swarga, Vishwamitra got offended by that. So offended by the activity of Brahma, Vishwamitra created a Trishangu or a Swarga equivalent out of his yoga Visishta. That is a Purana story. That story is being referred here. So Paripakva Samadhayaha, he is the one matured in the Samadhi and the yogic practice. So Upadana Upakarana Prameya Vivarjita. Without any material cause, nor the instrument cause, nor any intermediary cause, he Swa Ichaya, with his own desire, he Swargam Sasarjat. He created a Swargam for this thing. That is the example which is being given. Like from the seed is born in the tree, again the tree needs another seed in the form. So there is a succession. With the view to prevent such a supposition, the illustration of yogi is adduced. The ancient such Vishwamitra, perfect in Samadhi, without any material instrument, without any personal end in view, by their mere will, brought about creation complete with all enjoyment. So this is the example when Maya Viva Yogi Vaya Swechaya in the Stothra what is it? What is the next mantra thing? Ishvara Ananta Shaktitvat Sarva Swatantra Ananya Apekshakaha Svecha Matrena Sakalam Srijayati Apyati Andi Cha. So Ishvara is the Almighty, is possessed of the infinite power, Ananda Shakti, and he has an independence. Svecha is the he can his own desires. So he is not. He is a Sarvatantra Swatantraha. So he has no dependency on anything else other than himself. Na apeksha. There is no dependency for him outside himself, because he is ekameva agra asid. So that is alone was there. So there is no dependency other than itself. By his mere will, he creates and pervades and destroys. So like from a deep sleep, we are able to have the experiences of whether the dream or the waking, and the materials or the experiences of the dream or the objects resolves into a state of nothingness when we go to our sleep. It is an example which is used for, same is in the case of Ishvara, when he projects, he brings it out of himself and he brings it down to his own, he collects. So, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, all the three are done by his own volition or will. So, this example is what is being here used as saying. Then to show that there is no dependency for him on anything outside, he is the Sarvatantra Swatantra. He is absolutely free for everything. And Ananta Shaktitva, because he is infinite, he is omnipotent. Therefore, he is the one in the Vichha Matram, with me desire. Now, this one is we can see the same thing is being told in the Taittiriya Upanishad also. So kameta buhusyam prajayeti sat adrajada atmana atrasha sambuddha akasha vayu agni agnairapaha. All those things are being told in the Upanishad also. But one thing we should understand, that all these examples and explanations are being given to bring the attention for those people who think the creation is real, the experience of everything is a reality, and they don't see the substratum where the reality is getting the reality from. Like the earlier thing, the existence as which was present in the seed itself is the existence for the tree. But only thing is that it has got a different name and form as a tree. The tree in the form of a unmanifest existence was present in the seed. Same way, the world which we are all experiencing is also unmanifest in the form of in our deep sleep, When in the dream, when we create the world of the dream, we create means don't understand the ego or the individual. That power which is there in us, that same power which is there in every object or every atom of the creation, that when it projects the world of the dream, that the world, the dreamer is created, the world of the dream is created. Same is the case for waking also. We become the waker in the waking. The world of the waking is also with the same potency with which the world has been created. But not the waker is creating the world, not the sleeping individual. It is the Chaitanya, Satchidananda, Turiya, which is the one which is projecting all those things. So we should understand that. That is the what is called the Ishvara. If you remember in the Mandukya Upanishad, that the Taijasa, in the microcosm is Taijasa, the macrocosm is called an Ishvara. So you should understand that macrocosmic is the potency which we are talking about here, Ishvara, Svecha Matrena Sakalam Jagat Srijati. Na karakanam vyapara karta syat nitya ishvaraha napi pramana vyaparat jnatva asau suprakashakaha. Ishvara doesn't create by way of operating on materials external to himself. Self-conscious as he is, neither is he the knower of by way and operating the pramanas of organs of perception. What does this Varthika says? He wants to remove the mental picture which he had created in the earlier examples of Naya Vaisheshika, where he said that the potter is a creator of the pot. So for creating the pot, he needed material causes, he needed auxiliary causes, and he had an instrumental causes, and there an efficient or intelligent cause. So all these four causes makes him the karta or the doer who creates the pot. Now, in this Vartika, Suresuracharya, what he wants to tell is that if you are thinking that Ishvara is creating the world like a potter creating the pot, he has a dependency on material external to himself. As a potter cannot become the pot. Potter needs instruments for it, then he needs the material with which he can create the pot. He is only what he is actually doing is, he is giving the lump of clay a different name and shape, which we call it as pot, and he becomes the doer or the creator of the pot. Actually speaking, if you look at it, the mud itself is in the form of a pot. So all he has interfered is the changing the name and the shape of the mud, lump of mud, to become a pot. Now, if we think the same way, Ishvara is becoming the world outside by the external material, that is being refuted here. He doesn't need anything material outside himself to operate it. We didn't need any material outside when we were dreaming. The dream had material like animals, tree, plane, train, colors, the sky. In the dreamer himself as an experiencer in it. All these things, where did the material for this creation come? But the experiences were real when it was being dreamt. There was no material cause external to himself. All that was available was consciousness. The self-consciousness of the deep sleeper, the self-consciousness as that when he was in deep sleep, is the same self-consciousness or the self-awareness which is becoming the dream world, is the same which is becoming the world in the waking also. So there is no doership in the Ishvara when it is becoming like that, because unlike the potter has a doership to convert a material external to him, the Ishvara doesn't have a doership. He is the knower by operating on the pramanas or the perception. He doesn't have that any of those kartru karma, kriya, karaka, all those pramana vyapara. So he is refusing here there any doership in the Ishvara, because there the question from the philosophers, other philosophers then, if Ishvara is the creator or Ishvara is the creator for the world, then he becomes a karta and the kartrutva. And that is the question today which we are all being asked, If Ishvara created the world, why did he create rich and poor? Why did he create people with sickness and some people with goodness? Some rich, some poor, some starving, some having excess food and overweight by overfeeding themselves. All these varieties, how did Ishvara create from this? Then all the doership of doing good and bad should be on the Ishvara. This is a standard question even today people are asking, if those who are saying that Ishvara is the creator for the world. But if we really understand what is the meaning when the Shruti says that Ishvara is the creator, there is no vyapara or no transaction or the activity in Ishvara Bharati. The Mayavi Iva, just by the Icha, Swechaya, he creates an illusion or an experience which is like a dream. And dream and waking are not different. So you should understand that that is how the Ishvara is doing the creation. So here if you read the explanation, Ishvara undergoes no change in the state in himself when he creates persons and destroys the universe. He performs the act of operating material because the necessary instrumental so on, then he should be needing the subject to change of state like a potter producing pot. On the other hand, like a king or a magnet, by mere presence, he induces activity in his environment without actively engaging in any act. This is also being refused later. But here, for the purpose of saying that, in the Bhagavad Gita also say, Adhyakshena, Tasya Adhyakshena Pragati, that the world is working by his mere presence. Like a magnet present will move the iron filings, or by the presence of a king, when the king walks in, the praja or the ministers or the people will stand up and start doing the namaste, pranam, etc. He is not inducing the activity in them to do it. By his presence, the actions happen alone by itself in the objects outside. So same way, the presence of the intelligent cause, the Satchidananda, when it is in the mind creates the experiences. When it is not projecting through the mind, the dream or the waking is not having any projection. Same way, the Adhyakshena Suyate is the creation. Then comes the next Varthika. Nyadritvam api kartrutvam swat tanyat gratyastha kevalam ya cha ichha shakti vaichitriya sa asya swecha ananda karita yaya kartum nava kartum anyada kartum arhati swadandramim ishwarecha ke parichedum iha ishate. So what does he say? His consciousness and agency are quite absolute because he is independent. In the very variety of his will consists his absolute freedom. Who can define self-restraint will of Ishvara by which he is free to act, not to act, or anyada kartum. So what does this say? Nyadrutvam api kartrutvam api swatantra grahya kevalam. There are other attributes which you can attribute to them. He is the knower of things, or he is the doer of things. All those things is attributed onto Ishvara. Yaha cha Ichha Shakti Vaichitriya. Because of his volition or Ichha Shakti, Vaichitriya Swechananda Karita. So that is the one with which he is supposed to be making that, because our human mind has a tendency that we need for any effect, we need definitely a cause. So to the people who think that the world is being experienced and it's real, the Ishvara's Ichha is the one which is being given. But at the same time, it cannot be 100% that it is his Ichha, because then when as individuals we are the same as the creator, the created from the cause, the effect also is having the guna or the qualities of the cause. So if we are the creators, we created out of Ishvara, we should also having the qualities of Ishvara. But when we do the Ichha, when we do the volition or the desire to create something, we are unable to create. If I want to create a book in front of me, I cannot create. But if the Shastra says that the same material appears as multiple, the qualities of the parent of the cause should be present in the products also, but that is not being seen. So this anomaly is what is being questioned here in the Stotra. So Jnadrit Jnanattu Swatantrata Ishvara, that those things are residing only in the cause, in the Ishvara. But to do, not to do, or to do differently, that aspect also is only in the cause, but not in the effects. Ya kartum na va kartum anyada kartum arhati swatantram Ishvaram Ichha ke parichittu iha ishate. So this is being now answered in the same, saying that Shrutischa so akamayata iti ichchaya srishtum ichchituhu tasmad atmana akasha sambhuda iti cha abravit. Here that explanation which is that he is saying that it is being supported even by the Shruti. Like for the Zakaria example is what is being said. That's so akamayata. He desired to become Bahusyam Prajayeti. Let me become many. Tasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhuda. That created the space. Akashat Vayu. And the rest of the creation is being given from the Ishvara. Now, if you look at the Shruti also, you will find that the subtleness with which the material becoming the gross, when the gross is becoming from the subtle, the quality or the potency of the subtle is lost when it becomes the grosser. For example, space becomes what? The ether. The ether becomes the air. Now, that space, the potency of the space, when it is reduced, it becomes that of air. That air, Akashat, Vayu, Vayu or Agni. From that comes the Agni or the fire. The fire, it becomes localized, whereas Vayu can be traveling everywhere. But the traveling or the space, the permeation of air is limited compared to space. So each one gross wise. So therefore, what we can say is that this potency, even though there is an Ishvara at that time, when it becomes multiple products in the creation, each one assuming different aspect only accepts certain aspect of that quality from the total. This is how some of the philosophers has explained it in the earlier case. So Therefore, that Shruti Vakya is being used for a support of the statement that Ishvara is the only one. Now, here is where that the other refutations are being taken up. He is not only a mere efficient cause. Nimitramatram ched asya jagataha parameshwara vigaritvam vinashitvam bhavet asya kulalavat. Like nimitramatram, we said that like a king or a magnet or tata adhyakshena, if the jagat is being coming out of himself from the efficient cause, then vikaritvam vinashitvam bhavet asya. The vikaritvam, the transformation, vinashitvam means destruction, bhavet, that will happen to it, kulalavat. The kulala or the potter, when he is doing the conversion from the mud to the pot is a vikara or a transformation from the lump of the mud. The transformation loses the parent object's conditions. And having transformed into pot, it is also subject to destruction. So therefore, if Ishvara is really become the world, then these things should be happening, that the vikara should be happening to the Ishvara, and destruction also should be happening. Kulalavat is the question which is being asked by a Purvapakshi. The buddhyadehe navagunaha nitya eva ishwarasya chet nityechhavan jagat srishtau pravurtate taiva sarvada. If the 9 qualities including intellect, etc., eternal attributes are in Ishvara, then endowed as he is with the eternal will, he should constantly be in engagement creation of in the universe. Because what is the qualities of the 9 qualities? It is like intellect, etc. There are 9 intelligent causes which are used for creation. That is being referred here. If he is the one who is using that nitya, ishwarasya chet, it is that thing, then what is being told here is that this creation can never stop. It should be continuing all the time, going ahead and again and again, and that Ishvara will be a permanent in creation, and if it is a permanent creation, then release from the creation is never possible. The mukti kadapi na bhavati. The emancipation or the release from this vicious cycle of creation, destruction will not stop, even for Ishvara. Pravritti ityu parama abhava samsaro naiva nashyati mokshopadesho vyartham syat agamo abhinirartaka. If that is the case, the absence of cessation of activity, samsara will never cease. That the world of the creation of the experience of the world will never cease. And if it is the case, then what is the purpose of the Shruti or the Upanishad and the thing where you are said you will be free? You will become absolutely free from that moksha, that is emancipation, and realization will never happen, because this is a permanent effect. So tasmat maya vilaso ayam jagat kartritvam abhishituhu bandha moksha upadesho adi vyavaharo api mayaya. Now to answer that is what this saying, that maya viva vijrambayatyavi is that word which is used in the Stotra. Tasmat, therefore, mayavi vilasa. It is the play of the magician, which is jagat kartritvam iti ishiduhu. For the Ishvara, it is like a play using his maya. Bandha moksha upadesha adi vyavahara avi mayaya. Actually speaking, all the feeling that we should have bandha, moksha, upadesha of Upanishad, ityadi, all of them are also part of the Maya. So now, here is the question. If everything, the bondage, liberation is also Maya, then Shruti is also Maya? Yes. In the Brihadaranya Upanishad, where the Janaka Samvada between Yajnavalkya and Janaka is happened, Janaka asked the same question there, for which Yajnavalkya says, Jnate dvaidam na vidyate. Once you know the truth, then Bandha, Moksha, Upadesha, Vyakya, Shruti, Guru, Ishvara, none of them are there. But till that time, these Shruti, Upanishad, Guru, Upadesha, Itya, all of them are mandatory because you do not know the truth. So, even though we are being told that it is Ishvara Vilasaha, or because of which the Jagat is being experienced by us, even that will get refuted, that even that creation by the Maya or, Ichha Matram, all those things will get null and void, because the moment you know what is the truth, there is nothing which is really happening. Even that feeling that Maya is the one which is creating is for people who think that there is a creation, there is an experience. But if you really look into that, there is nothing which is happening. What did the entire world of dream and their experience really come out? No. It was only an appearance. The world is now being experienced and it's real. But only when we know the reality behind the world of experience of the waking, we will be able to see that even the waking world is nothing different from that of the dream. But until that becomes a knowledge and a conviction in our understanding, these questions will keep coming in our mind. And then only we will be able to know that how the Upanishad, the Shastra, the Acharya, the Veda Vakya, all of them will become mandatory or needed till we know and how we understand the reality behind it. Therefore, Bandha Moksha Upadeshadi Vyavaharam Api Mayaya Eva. This is how the Maya is in total control of everything. Idi Sri Dakshinamurthy Stotram Pradipadake Prabandhe Vanasollasya Dvidiya Ullasa Sangraha. Now with this Maya, which he completes here, he completes that second Stotra. Bijatyandarivan Guru Jagadidam Prangnirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpida Deshakala Kalana Vaichitra Chitri Kritam Maya Viva Vijrambayatyapi Mahayogi Vaya Swechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtiye. It is that Dakshinamurti and his Upadesha in the form of Jnana Upadesha, I am able to understand that this is all Maya, and like Ishvara, like a Mahayogi, Swechaya, all those things are being created. But once I know that this is all Maya, then I am no more worried about whether they appear or do not appear. This is how the second Stotra is being completed. Any questions? Why I didn't? Because the first 43 verses were all talking about Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Sankhya, and their methodology of, what is creation, how it is being refuted by the, they do not stand as test of logic. So that is why what is being told. I mean, that translation in the text is very, very clear. But unless you study those, Shastras of Nyaya Shastra, Vaisheshika Shastra, Mimamsa Shastra, the detailed explanation will not be known. So that is a project by itself. Only those who have understood and taken up those studies can understand that aspect. But as far as we are concerned, we have to put them all in one basket, saying that they are all, explanations which do not stand the test of logic. Yes, Patrick. Any question?
Well, it's just more, an inquiry into really the implications, because the way that I'm understanding it, when we say that, when it reads that there's a borrowed reality, and that Ishwar is, the creator in that sense, there really is no creation. There's the implications that there's nothing that's been created in that sense.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
The reality of experience, what we are experiencing in our waking, is similar to the reality of that of dream. But when we were dreaming, we could not use our logic to deny that. So we kept on experiencing it until the dream got over. Now we are thinking that we are having a logic, and we are thinking that there is a reality, there is an explanation, scientific and all sorts of experiments and definitions and cause-effect relationship, time, space, calculation. All those things are part of the delusion or the illusion of the waking. That will get nullified only when we know what is the reality behind these experiences.
The idea then is, was it your commentary when you said Vyavahara is that's not in the Stotra? That was your commentary. There is really no Vyavahara, is what you said. And so there's. So can you repeat that?
The world is a part of the Vyavahara. When the world is there, then Vyavahara is there. The transaction is there.
So there's an experience of Vyavahara, but no Vyavahara.
The experience also is not in reality. It is the appearance. The Vyavahara or the transaction of the dream happens because we were in the dream. You cannot deny that the dream objects and the transaction of the dream did not happen as long as you think that it happened. But if you get up and think that it was neither a reality nor the experiences were real, the experience also you are negating, no? Or are you saying that only the objects of the dream were not real, the experience was real, right? Without a real object, how can you have a real experience without it?
So this might be more elaborate than you're wanting to get into, but I mean, it's easy to understand. There's faces in this room, and you're in Pune, I'm in Canada, but not really. There's that reality, or that so-called reality, is borrowed, and therefore it's real, but the experience is real, but the locations are not real in the sense that they have no independent reality and therefore aren't real. They're real in the sense that we have an experience of them, but the locations are not in any way fundamental and borrow their reality. So that's location. Like that, I know it's maybe more than you want to get into, but the implications of it is that this conversation is wherever it's happening. There isn't a locality to it. There's a conversation that is happening, apparently, right? Like,
where is it happening? Where is it happening?
We don't know. I mean, that's, well, I wouldn't have a clue what word.
No,
that is,
if you are bringing location, I have to ask you, where is it happening?
Oh, that's in God's mind, or whatever word you want to use for it. That's in awareness. Then, like if there's a commonality that we can agree, that's that awareness, and so the conversation is happening in awareness. right?
So if it has got a substratum of awareness where everything is happening,
Yeah.
the location, the events, do they have a separate reality
No,
other than
not
the
at all.
substratum?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Yeah.
And so when I get on an airplane, like that's the best part is that when I take an airplane from Vancouver to Delhi, think about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I told you. When we get into a train, till the time of journey is over, we feel that seat is mine. And I will take that if somebody sits there, I will say, hey, that's my seat. As if, it is mine. That is the same thing which is happening with us in our body also. This body, which you call Patrick, or which I call our bin, is nothing but made of matter which is there in the earth. Every atom or molecule of this body or your body or anybody's body or this thing is part of the common thing which is there. It could have been anybody else's body also. But why do I feel that I am the body?
The body called Patrick moves from Vancouver to Delhi, but because I haven't got to that yet, the experience of it and the physicality of it are completely separate. There is no physicality to it, but there is in that way, right? Because there's 14 hours of time that travels, and there's all the scenery that passes under. That's just that is, and those are activities in that awareness, but because they borrow their reality to that substratum, they're not independent, and therefore there's still so real though.
What you call by activity is not part of that confusion or the delusion.
Well,
just as the body has a name and a location and the shape, the activity is also similar to that only. If you look from the point of view of awareness,
yeah, but you can call
activity is also a similar creation only of like the body.
Yeah, but you can call it, you can say the same thing about the appearance then, because I'm only referring to it as an activity in the sense of, in the same way that we call it an appearance. The appearance is just appearing, but we can call it an activity as well, because it's not, there's a dynamic aspect to it, that it's changing and so on in that sense in the appearance. But I get you. I mean, it's maybe nuanced, but it's so it's so amazing though, right?
Right. See, this is why when we listen to the Mandukya Upanishad, when it is said, Esha Devasya Subhavaha, when I'm explaining that on that Friday, you will listen to this much more clearly. What is that Subhava, you will understand at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Chandu Modia, you want to ask something?
Yeah, Modia, I want to just reconfirm my understanding.
Right.
In verse 48, we say Iswara has a immense power, and using that power, he creates everything, including us. But because it was changing actually form, we lose the potency which Iswara has. But I think we learned in the beginning Iswara and we are not different because we are from Iswara. But is it something
right.
like a Iswara is existing and it was like something like a material, or we believe like a conscious thing? So
this is why the 58th, the last mantra, last Vartika refutes this also. This statement is a presumption which we are all having right now. That, Ishvara is there separate, I am separate. Ishvara is not destructible, whereas I am having birth and death. But if I am created by the Ishvara and a cause and effect has got the effect should be having the cause, then I should not be dying. Right?
Yeah.
These type of doubts are there in the mind because we are thinking that the creation really happened and Ishvara created everything for us to experience, and we are also created by Ishvara. And then therefore, when he wants to destroy us or destruction, he has set a limit beyond which I can't exist. So the cause, the birth and the death, etc. of not only the body, about the world or the objects also is part of the creation. So everything is under one control of Ishvara. And he is the one who is creating, then we are becoming puppets in his hand, type of a feeling comes in. But what does the mantra says? What does the last verse says? All this thing is nothing but Maya. Even our thought that, see, Bandha Moksha Upadesha Vyavahara Api Mayaya. That it is because we do not know what is the truth. Who is what we are, or what is our nature. When we know that our reality of our experience or our causes for experience, causes for our individual ideation, think that I am an individual, all those things will get clarified only when you have the knowledge of the reality of your own existence. Jnate dvaitam na vidyate. When you know the reality, there is no duality. That all that existence is Brahma or Satchidananda. All these things is now appearing because we don't know that truth. The moment we know the truth, like how the dream vanished, the world also will appear to be not real, but like a mirage and a water. As long as we are perceiving through the instrument of this waking, we will see the world, but the knowledge will be there because I am looking through a green glass, everything is green, or the yellow glass, everything is yellow. That knowledge will make you, when you know the things are being seen yellow also, the things are not really yellow, but I am seeing my glasses are yellowish in color, there I am seeing the world in yellow color. Same way, I am using my body of waker to experience in the waking world. So in the waking world, the waking things are real as the body is real. But what happened to that body? I discarded that body, took another body in my dream, and then I entered into another body, and that body qualities with that body quality, that experiences were experienced. I was not even having the knowledge of what is waking. But when I discard both these qualities, I am within myself. I have neither the waking body nor the dream body. I am all by myself, where I knew nothing, but I existed. That is the time when you know that all these things are nothing but Maya, or which is not really there, but being felt because you are looking through the instruments of waker or a dreamer. Is it clear now?
Yeah. Basically, we have to say this is the display of Maya, and it's not like we generally think, or maybe no, the general thoughts are God existed and He created everything and He is a superpower sort of thing. So no, this is a this all of a is more of Maya.
Yeah.
Dhanyavad.
Mahoday. Yeah. So we learned before that Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, they go in that order, and that keeps repeating. So we know that Jagrat is as much a dream as Swapna, and so it is as unreal as Swapna. So in either case, there is no is there. It's a illusion of free will in Jagrat Avastha also.
Come again?
One question is about free will. Is there free will? Since all this being not real, so if it is as much a dream as the real dream, is there free will? And one more thing, since it is not real, but there is no creation, but the appearance is there, and what makes us stay focused on the appearance? What compels us to just focus on the appearance, not on the substratum, where it is appearing?
Okay. First, your answer was free will. Free will is an imagination of human beings, thinking that he has the freedom to do things. Kartum, akartum, anyadava kartum. That choice, that it is there. But when he says that I am a free will, he is removing the aspect that for his free will to be in operation, he is depending upon the external things which is not under his control. All he has is his thoughts which he thinks is his free will. Even for his thoughts to have a free will, he is depending upon the accumulated memory which has been grasped and accumulated during his experiences, previous experiences, sense organs and intellect. When he brings it back, that memory is thinking that with that I am having a free will to do things. That free will is a delusion in the mind of the individual.
Okay.
What he defines by free will is that he has an option to do kartum, akartum, anyada kartum. To do, not to do, or to do anything other way around. But he forgets that he has a perimeter in which he can run around. That perimeter is also not in his own choice. Whether the perimeter will become or small, he himself is not sure about it. Conditions can change. He is not in control of the conditions of the perimeter. This is exactly the delusion what it is being controlled also for our experiences. So when you say that this delusion of Jagrat Swapna Sushupti is appearing to be real or experiences to be real, even the Jagrat or Swapna or Sushupti is being real, is an experience by us. Why are we not seeing the substratum? Is because we are not located in the truth, but we are located in association with the body, which has going through these experiences, which has a feeling of going through the experiences. Actually, it is not going through these experiences. But if you look, shift and stand as a witness, because you know that you had a dream, you had a deep sleep, you know waking, all these things are known unless there is an entity who these changes are knowing that that entity is different in each one of them when associated it. But there is an entity which knows that the three is happening. So the one which is three is, the knowing the three has to be different from the three independently. Then only I can say, I dreamt, I've slept, I am awake. That when I went to waking, I call myself waker. When I went to dream, I call dreamer. When I did have both waking and dream, I call myself sleeper, the deep sleeper. But I am the one who is knowing the three experiences happened in me. Just as that you went from your one room to another room, 3 rooms of your own house, you are the one which is moving into the 3 rooms of your house. Therefore, you know that the 3 rooms exist in your house. If each one had experienced different rooms, there is no commonality between the 3, then there cannot be say that I am dreamer, I am waker, I am a deep sleeper, no? But it is the same one which is going to the 3 rooms. So he knows that there are 3 rooms are existing and it is my 3 experiences. But when you are in each room, you become part of the room, forgetting that you are temporarily here. You may go to the other 2 rooms anytime.
That forgetfulness, that compulsion comes from this long practice of having been associated with it. So,
yes.
Okay, so constantly focusing on the substratum is the only solution.
Right.
Dhanyawad, Modi.
Okay.
Maybe just one last one? Or
please.
Should we?
No. Go ahead.
When these experiences are related or focused on the so-called individual, they're easier to understand. But how do we explain the notion that the physical systems of the planet seem to have their own independence, in the sense that while they might not have their own independent reality, there's like the flow of a volcano's lava doesn't stop just because we're not attending it or looking at it, for example. So in that sense, there's a landscape within our reality that the reality that we're creating that seems to have it doesn't just stop the flow once we aren't looking at it. So in that sense, these physical systems are happening. Is there an explanation for that, or I just need to look at it in a different way?
You have to look at it in a different way. When you know that the lava is flowing, you have brought it into your realm of that either directly or indirectly you knew such a thing is happening. But I'll also tell you, there are multiple things or infinite things which are happening in so many other planets and cosmos, in the stars and the planets, exoplanets, etc., which is not known. So there are only 2 things, known and unknown. But you know that there are things which are unknown also to you. You know there are things which are known to you. Whether they happen or not happen doesn't matter. Both things happening or not happening is in relation to your awareness. Whether they affect you or not, you decide it. Whether they are happening or not happening, also it's your choice. Because you took the third party or the indirect knowledge that such a thing is happening, so you accepted it and you brought it into your realm of your awareness. Therefore, it is happening. There are things which you do not know directly or indirectly, so whether they are happening or not happening has not yet affected you. So, but you know there can be a hole or a black hole where things are happening which I do not know. But that is also in your awareness. Is there anything which you can point that is there, but it is not in my awareness? The awareness will include both known and unknown. Is there a third one which you can point that is not in your awareness? The dependency of those things happening is only relational to your awareness.
Is there any part of that awareness that's aware of the flow of lava when, the awareness called Patrick is not aware of it or seeing it?
The moment you say that, it is already there in your awareness. If it is not in your awareness, can you make a statement?
No.
There lies the answer.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. Good night.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Namaste, Murthy. Thank you.